Hey guys, Noah from Stage 3 Motorsports here today with our buddy Jared from Edge Products, and we're going to be taking a look at this Juice with Attitude system for the 7.3 liter diesel trucks. Now, there's a whole lot involved in this kit, and this is kind of the top level that you guys offer for guys who want to get serious about tuning their trucks. So can you break down some of the details and features on what a guy's getting in this package?
Yeah, so the 7.3 liter Juice with Attitude is available for the 990373. Basically, you're getting the control monitor, which is the Attitude. You have a smaller version or a larger version. The inline module, which is the Juice, which sits underneath the hood. It takes a signal from the ECU, the truck's computer, rewrites it, sends it to the motor, and then the wires in between are EGT cable for your exhaust gas temperature, and that's kind of what's included. So it really depends if you want the smaller screen or a larger screen on that, so the CS2 or the CTS2, and that's kind of what's included in this kit. So you basically, everything all said and done, go out, add the performance, add the gauges in one kit.
Cool. And so you mentioned, obviously, they have that option where a guy can choose that CTS2 or the CS2. Can you elaborate a little bit on what the details are that change between there? Because it seems like the performance is the same, but it's sort of like the actual features baked into that device that change. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the performance doesn't change on the module. So all the tuning's within that Juice module. Is what happens is when it controls, it's the monitor that controls the Juice. The CS2 is a button-controlled smaller screen. So it's a color screen, but a lot of those guys that want the resistance feel of the button, they like that, or just want a smaller, cleaner look in their vehicle, they'll buy the CS2 version of it. Has all the gauges on there, you can see all the monitoring capabilities. It just doesn't have that larger touchscreen like the CTS2.
Sure.
So the CTS2 is a 5-inch touchscreen. You can still change the power levels driving down the road, simply just swipe down, hit your power level changes, drive down the road with it. The other capabilities is you can add a backup camera to it, you can add our power switch to it, you have our accelerometer. So there's some other features in there, but the other thing is the screen's bigger. Yeah. It's easier to see when you're driving down the road. You can display more on one screen. So if the guys that really want all the gauges, especially if they're towing or even if they're racing, they want all those gauges, they want to see everything that's going on, they can do that with the CTS2.
Awesome. Yeah, and both of those are great options. Obviously, you can kind of vary just depending on how you use your truck, which one's going to work best for you. So talking more then about the actual tuning itself, can you give us a little more details on maybe some rough power numbers you might see and sort of how the Juice module works with all that?
Yep. Yeah, so the cool thing about the Juice with Attitude is instead of programming the evolution where you program the ECU of our tuning side, it's that module, like I say. So the performance is in there. So you have the 0 power level, which is stock. Okay. So you can hit the power level, go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional power levels, 5 being the highest. On this application, you're seeing around that 80, 90 horsepower to the rear wheels, on about 250 foot-pounds of torque to the rear wheels. But then you have a mileage tune. So you go to 1, it's your mileage. You go to 2, it's your tow. You go to 3, it's your daily driver. So, you know, you go up to extreme. So you can go down the road and hit that power level. And so what we're doing is picking up that signal. You know, we're changing the timing, the duration, the fuel pressure, whatever it is, and sending that to the motor. And that's how we control the power out of this. So instead of changing the ECU settings, we're changing the calibration within that module. So it's always changing, it's always feeding the information, and that allows you to do real on-the-fly adjustments with the power levels.
Yeah, and those on-the-fly adjustments are huge. I think that's awesome to have, so that way you're just tapping on the screen and you're getting those instant changes to get the power that you need for whatever application at that specific time.
Yep, exactly.
Now, with that being said, so the Juice doesn't necessarily work with transmission stuff, but it sounds like the Attitude kind of picks up on that.
So yeah, it was what actually the Juice itself doesn't do it, but yeah, the Attitude has a tuning side of it in a way. So okay. What we allowed it to do is we noticed that the Juice is great power, but adding that transmission shifting, shift firmness makes a ton of difference to these trucks and a huge benefit. So what we done is we took the Attitude and gave it the capability to tune the transmission controller. So it plugs in the OBD2 port as well as it plugs in the Juice. So we can program the transmission control unit to say, okay, we want to up shift firmness, up the shift points. And by doing that, it just in-syncs the tuning with the transmission shifting, adds a great functionality. And on these 7.3s, the throttle response is day and night difference. They run so much better with it tuned. It's power instantly. It's not getting all the way in there. It's a big difference on these 7.3s.
Yeah, you gotta love having that, getting rid of that dead pedal feel and really knowing that the power's coming on faster and, you know, having the ability to program it where now if you use your truck for towing a lot, you want those shifts to be efficient and to match up with how you use the truck to capitalize on that power, which really makes the Juice with Attitude a good overall kit to kind of sum up everything you'd need for your 7.3.
Exactly, and that's kind of why it's our top of the line. It's like, here's everything you need, great running truck, you don't need to add anything to it. You can, but you don't have to add anything to it if you need to.
Yeah, and obviously you just mentioned you could add things to it, and I think that brings about the EAS system that you've mentioned before. What does that do, and what kind of features could that add to this Juice with Attitude kit?
So the EAS adds a little bit more. It's our expandable accessory system. So the one thing is, you see we have an EGT probe up here. The Evolution doesn't come with an EGT probe, so you have to add it, which is the EAS system. So with the Juice with Attitude, say you wanted to add another EGT probe, you could. So you can add your exhaust gas temperature probe additional. But most guys say, okay, I want to run a higher boost reading on it or something. So I can add a boost sensor to it. I can add a temp sensor. I could add a fuel pressure sensor for my aftermarket fueling system on it. The CTS2 will actually allow you to add a power switch to it to control accessories like light bars or compressors and other things like that. And that's when just controlled through a toggle switch through the CTS2 screen itself.
Nice. Yeah, and that's a great extra bit of utility that you can add with that CTS2, to where now you're working with engine management, tuning, and you have stuff like light bars and compressors where you can manage that all in one spot on your truck, which I think is really awesome for guys who use their trucks in kind of a multifaceted way.
Yep, exactly. That's kind of what we try to look at. It's the control unit of the vehicle there for all the performance needs in one unit without all these other gauges, all the other switches, everything in one unit.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jared, for coming in and kind of breaking down this Juice with Attitude kit and giving us all those details. If you guys are watching this and you want to pick up one of these systems for your truck, you can head down to the description below, click that link, it'll shoot you over to our website, and we will see you guys next time.